welcome to Sacred Service Podcast. I am Starr Tyler. So happy to be here with my co-host Tyler Tanner. How you doing this morning, my love?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be able to connect with you and, bounce these ideas back and forth and get your perspective on everything that we have for the show today. So I'm very excited.
Hey, yeah. So we're excited. We're gonna this whole series that we've been working with you guys on is all about plant medicine. And, we are the Sacred Service Podcast. And so, what does that even mean, sacred service? We are here to talk with you and share with you perspectives that maybe you haven't seen before. Maybe you haven't looked through this perspective through this window before of the sacred realms that we traverse. So, yeah, we're talking about plant medicines, but our podcast is not just dedicated to plant medicines, but all things sacred. And so we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to share with you. We're so grateful to be here. Thank you. Thank you all so much for tuning in, for turning on, for sharing heart space with us. And we know that we go into our sacred space today knowing that our guides are here to guide us, knowing that we are here to raise the consciousness, raise the vibration for all beings here on this beautiful Pachamama. We're here to raise the vibrations for Pachamama and all that is. So it is. So take what you resonate with, lean into some of the things that maybe are a little hard to hear, and disregard the things that don't work for you, and that's all good, Yeah. So we have 3 different kinds of segments in our podcast. First being our little introduction and a card pull to see what's happening in the space of humanity and our collective consciousness. And then we go into the heart of our podcast. And the heart of our podcast today is all about dieta. So we talk about dieta in a way that is absolutely, there's so many different viewpoints of dieta, in which we'll try to cover a couple of them, and or a few of them at least, and the perspective of why we do a dieta and going into plant medicine. What is the philosophy and what are the logistics? What does that even look like, from a facilitator standpoint as well as from a participant standpoint? And so we've got a little bit of research that Ty has done. I can share from my perspective as a facilitator and a participant, and why I do the things that I do and how I do the things that I do, and discuss a little bit of philosophy. And how's that all sound?
It sounds beautiful. I am so ready to get into it. And what I was really excited about was, the fact that you coming from a perspective of a facilitator of this plant medicine, I'm excited because you can kind of fill in the dots of where maybe my understanding is lacking, or being able just to give a fuller interpretation of what that has looked like in your life, because a dieta isn't just a dieta or like a specific diet or restrictions that you follow in order to access this relationship with the plant spirits. It's not just like a one and done thing, it's a lifelong it is a lifelong endeavor if you're going to continue to have a working relationship with these plant spirits. And so for coming from me, looking at you, who has spent so much time, or what we view as so much time spent in this dieta space, I'm just really excited to share that knowledge with you.
So, in full disclosure of all of this, guys, I come in through the door of the Shipibo tradition. And we understand that plant medicine, ayahuasca specifically, there's many, many, many tribes, over 300 tribes that carry this medicine. And each one comes in the doorway from different perspectives, but there's an overall view. So I just wanted to kind of give you that kind of heads up that, the tradition that I study is Shipibo, and which is in the Amazon rainforest of Peru. And so that is the doorway in which I have learned about dieta and my experiences come from, as well as, I did my early studies were with a mestiza shaman in Puerto Maldonado. Mestiza is a little different than the Shipibo. And I found so many different, similarities between the two. But yeah, we can talk a little bit about that. Hey, so I've been shuffling cards. Every day I'm shuffling, shuffling. And 3 cards came out. First card is freedom. Very interesting. I've been really contemplating this thing called freedom. So here's what it says. Today I am free. My mind is liberated and expansive. My body is free of illness, toxins, and disease. My soul no longer carries the weight of the past. I am free. I am free. I am free. Just take that breath and feel if you can resonate with that. The topic of freedom has been so deep on hand, especially in the United States and in Canada, as we just celebrated 4th of July and Freedom Days. And so it's been really at the forefront, I think, of our consciousness for all of us, and contemplating what does it really mean to be free, especially as our liberties are slowly but surely being oppressed and taken away. And one of the things that I know that I have really thought about, and maybe this is something that you've been thinking about too, and that is, what is freedom? What is sovereignty? To be a sovereign being. And I think that, as I do the Mindful Monday meditations, one of the things that has come up has been this contemplation of freedom and being a sovereign being, and how we can always come back to our own perceptions and perspectives, reclaiming all lost soul pieces, doing that right here, right now, calling home all lost soul pieces, calling home any parts of you that are on walkabout, any parts of us that are, parts of our soul that have been taken, stolen, right? We come from a long history of colonizers here in the United States, where land has been stolen, souls have been stolen. And we're having to live that. We're having to live that in our cosmic collective selves. And how do we make peace with that? It's big.
It is. I feel like I keep having this thought about freedom and this idea of, claiming sovereignty over your entire self, including your shadow, and those things that we don't want to accept are a part of ourself. I've been listening to some documentaries or video essays about shadows and the shadow work, and Carl Jung's work, and kind of this modern idea of psychology. And I really feel like it is an echo of everything that's going on right now in the world, specifically like in the US, with the overturning of Roe versus Wade and everything like that is an echo of our projection onto our shadow, or of our shadow
Our
onto,
shadow, right?
yeah.
Projecting on. And so, when we're constantly going, yeah, we don't want to look at that part of ourselves. We don't want to look at that, how we've been, colonizers, or how we've taken over, or how we've given away our own soul pieces, right? We don't want to look at all of those things. And so, yeah, when we don't want to look at the totality, how can we claim our whole soul? How can we claim freedom? And how can we claim sovereignty? You know? Yeah. And the micro inside our interior work is a reflection of all of that. And so we understand the micro is the macro is the micro. So we've got some work to do. We've got some big work to do. And, you know, um, and you brought up Roe v. Wade, and yes, SCOTUS has turned back time. We've jumped timelines again. Some of us have jumped timelines into the future. Some of us have gone backwards. I don't claim that. I don't claim what SCOTUS says. I don't. I am a sovereign goddess. I've done a lot of work for that. So yeah. When we work in the sacred realms, guys, one of the things that we have to understand is that the laws of the universe are very, very different than the laws of the land. And when we walk this sacred path, we have to understand that we're listening deeply to the sacred laws of the universe. Yeah. Very different than the laws of the land. And who makes the laws of the land? Yeah. And not always are the laws of the land in our best interest in freedom, in sovereignty, and claiming our whole soul. Makes sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
Woo! Big chats about all of that, So what can we do today, guys? What can we all do in reclaiming our freedom? And sometimes it's just, like who or what is taking up residence in your thought process,
Hmm.
right? What are your perpetual thoughts going on in your head? Can you clear that? Who lives in your head? Are you ruminating over old stories? Are you ruminating over past things that don't even exist now? So maybe just today in your step forward in your freedom path is about just claiming your headspace, reclaiming your thoughts, that you can be here and be present.
Absolutely. And allowing those thoughts to come up and shifting your perspective as the observer, so what are these things coming up? What are these emotions coming up? What are they showing me? Instead of numbing the discomfort.
True that. True. And that is another thing, like when we go and numb out, this is not freedom. This is denial, right? And so this is, claiming your headspace may be that we're not going to numb out, that we're going to be present with it all. The feelings of rage. I was saying the other day in class, last night in class, that we've been in a place collectively of just kind of feeling outside of ourselves and not super grounded, and there was a really big conversation about what do we do, how do we what are some of the tools that we can use when we're feeling so discombobulated by everything, and out of right relationship, right? When we're out of right relationship with the earth, with ourselves, with our community, how can we bring ourselves back in? And I was saying that I have been making a lot of despachos. Despacho is a prayer bundle for that you make for the earth, and you can burn them or you can make offering into the earth or into the water. And so I've been making a lot of despachos. I'm like the little fairy making little packages of love and despachos filled with flowers and herbs and so much love and candies and treats and chocolates for the earth. And so, yes, it feels like that has been my balance because what I've been feeling is a lot of rage. I've been feeling a lot of anger and a lot of rage, and I don't want to squash those down. I want to feel the feelings. They're true. It's authentic. We don't want to go and numb them out. We don't want to go and say, put our head in the sand and pretend like, everything is well. This is bypassing. So, yeah, feel the feels. You're right. You want to feel the feels. I've been feeling a lot of rage and a lot of anger. And it almost feels good to feel that because I don't feel that very often. So it's a new feeling for me, like, roar. So in order for me to keep that balance, because I don't want to project anger and rage out into the collective and onto the earth, I want to acknowledge that within me, those feelings. So I've been counterbalancing with making my despachos.
What do you think that means as far as, the lawmakers who set the rules or the precedents, or who like are the ones who are, the oppressors? How do we look at that in a very real, like literal sense of what that means as like a collective for our country? Does that mean that like we're going to have to take up arms? Does that, it's like, uh, who knows how we're going to get out of this, or how we are going to, people always say violence is never the answer, but we've seen in history over time and time and time
Revolution, right?
revolution and overthrowing the oppressor is kind of the only solution that we've had as a species up until this point. And so it's like, when is that justified?
And
And
how often does that need to be perpetuated? You know, that we are resorting to violence in order to bring some sort of a balance. And, yeah, this is a really, really beautiful, in depth thought process and conversation. And so I can just share with you guys that I have had, well, since Wednesday, a week ago, I have had a continuous vision um, about the bigger picture and what's happening, and it came sort of as a startle. So some of you know I'm a visionary, and I see. I'm a tracker, and I can see, and a lot of times I've trained myself not to see into the future. But I was awoken, I think it was Wednesday night, Thursday morning, in a vision. And the vision, over and over and over and over and over again, in many different forms, this was the message: we are moving through the eye of the needle. And we are going to be shocked and amazed. Many of us will be shocked and amazed at the things that are shaking up and taking form behind the scenes right now. The thing that we have to be really, really mindful of at this time is that we're not going into the old paradigm of waiting for others to come and save us. This is the triangle of disempowerment. And we've been, as a world, so entrenched in the triangle of disempowerment, where there is a bully, a victim, and a rescuer. So as a collective, who's going to come and rescue us? Are the star beings going to come in and save the day? Is it going to be a revolution? is what is going to save the day. What is going to save the day is that we come in and do the personal work, that we become sovereign beings in this knowing, this absolute knowing. We are in a rip in the fabric of time right now, and it started it started a while ago, but it got really big a couple weeks ago. And we are, in fact, jumping timelines. Okay, we're moving into a different realm of consciousness. In that different realm of consciousness, those who are maybe new to the awakening consciousness are going to have what is perceived as a shit show. And we look around and we go, oh my God, it's chaos. Shit show. Oh my God. What are they doing to us? How are they doing this? And then we have those who are staying steady and doing the work and doing our own personal shadow work and knowing that, oh gosh, are we projecting this us versus them? Oh, wait, I am them? Uh-oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait. We do our ancestor work in the plant medicines. We make amends. We make peace within our soul through the ancestor work, through the plant medicines, through our ceremonies, through all of this. This is how I feel that we're making a change. So this statement that we are going through the eye of the needle weighs very, very heavy. And we've heard it in so many different realms and so many different ways. And from a religious context, what that is saying is that, I think it was Jesus who was saying something to the effect, and I'm not a religious being and I was not raised Christian, so forgive me if I screw this up, but it's something to the effect of that a camel carrying all the bags and the riches will never make it through the eye of the needle into going into heaven, right? So going into the sacred realms, going into the higher consciousness, if you will. That if you want to carry all your baggage, you're never going to make it through the eye. There's only but so much room. You've got to start shedding your shit. You've got to start letting go of all of the drama, all of the trauma. At the time, they were talking about the riches, that if you were stacking your camel, with all of your gold and your riches, you were never going to make it through that small, narrow opening, the gateway to heaven. You don't need all of that. You don't need all your stuffism. You don't need all of the things. And that includes your drama and your trauma. In order to raise up into our higher consciousness, we're going to have to start letting go. And so I see that for many of us, Stranger Things just coming out again, have you guys watched that? It's pretty crazy. I have not been able to watch it. I watched the little bit of their latest ones, but it's too violent for me. I can't do it. But yeah, they're talking about the upside down, right? That there's a whole other world of shadow that's in the upside down. Well, we're we walk the path of shamanism. We live in the upside down. We walk people through the upside down. I hold people's hands as they're trekking through the upside down, and the upside down being your own shadows, your own demons. So, yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Who knew we'd go there today?
I feel like it almost needs to be addressed, though. Like, it's a very real state of, life that we are all in together. And so I feel like it at least needs to be acknowledged.
So, where are our fears? And what are the fears that you have this moment today? Can we sit with those fears in our little sacred realm, in our heart, and not push against them, not deny them, not get mad at them, not get your gun out and shoot them. All of the things that show up in our collective. Can we sit with our fears? Can you have the courage to do that right now? And and maybe even pour some love on those fears. Maybe even see them through the eyes of love. What is that fear really about? Is it that you're not enough? Is it that you're not going to survive? Is it that you're fearing that your liberties are really being taken away? And is the truth right here, right now, in this moment? It's powerful. It's powerful, and we can all serve to look at that. And this is, a great segue into our bigger heart of the conversation and coming into plant medicine. This is why we do the work, guys. This is why we come to plant medicine, so that our fears are not owning us, so that we can walk this beautiful earth as pure bliss, love beings, not bypassing our shadows, but moving through them and shining the light on them. We do this work to say yes to our life, yes to our hearts, yes to love, yes to a shift in consciousness, yes to this planet, and yes to each other. It's big work. Plant medicine is big work, and going into a dieta is powerful. And so let's talk a little bit about dieta.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Ty, I just want to ask you a question.
Yes.
You've been in dieta 3-4 times?
Yeah, 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times.
So, what was your favorite dieta?
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a good one. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can pin a favorite on any specific
they're
one.
all so unique and so beautiful. They all bring such, gorgeous lessons.
They do. And so I had a friend that had gone through a dieta to sit with you with the plant medicine, and she was trying to explain it to me before I had gone through a dieta myself. And there's only so much that you can understand about a dieta and what it brings up and what it does for you until you go through it yourself.
True.
And so my first dieta was very eye-opening in the sense that it feels so a dieta, meaning the restriction of your diet, so no fat, no salt, no sugar, and then abstaining from sex and kind of like the physicality of what this life has to offer. I was It was interesting that when we start to restrict those things on the physical level, how it opens up our energetic sensors and antennas in order to start receiving the information from the grandmother, from your guides, from all of these, non-corporeal forces that are, working around you and for you and through you. And so I was sorry, I lost my train of thought. Hold on.
Favorite dieta?
So
And why?
my favorite dieta, honestly, was probably the first one. It was just like it was, you know, it was an awakening for myself. It was like an introduction to, you're introducing yourself to the plant spirits.
A whole new world.
And that's the thing, because when you make the choice for yourself that you are going to do this work, and you start going into the dieta, the medicine is already working even before actually going to the ceremony and sitting and drinking and drinking the concoction. And
Actually,
so
we always say, and I always say that, is that the moment that either you get the calling or that you say yes, that you're going, the moment that you make that commitment,
mm,
she's working with you. And
yes.
she starts to call you. You start to feel that call. Oh, somebody asked, you hear the word ayahuasca. What? What is what is that? Like you just kind of start, and you hear the calling. You start resonating. You start feeling this plant medicine. So that's true. A lot of people start feeling that call, right? And already the plant medicine is calling you, saying, "Yeah, let's do some work."
And it does, and the work does start with that, and it brings up those shadow pieces of yourself that, at least for me, that, I've been pushing away. Because from my first dieta to my most recent dieta, the challenges that came up were so different. And so that's another thing that I really love about the dieta process is, we're not perfect beings, we're not perfect individuals, and so, we are going to make mistakes. And so there have been mistakes that I've made in previous dietas that I feel like have had the opportunity to be resolved or continue to work through with future dietas that I've done. um, and so that's one thing too, is having that dialogue with yourself and with the plant spirits. And it's almost like a friendship, that you're,
It totally is. You're developing a relationship.
yeah. And so there's this trust and humility and, forgiveness that happens you know when you fall off the bandwagon a little bit. And so
So let's talk about that because there are some things. Okay, so dieta, I kind of look at that it's not just about the foods that you can or cannot have or the medicines that you cannot have or can have. It's about a philosophy in general. It is this agreement that you're making with the plant spirits themselves that says, I'm willing to come and be clean and clear so that you can work with me. Now, you have to understand that these spirits, they're energetic. It's hard for them to come through the ethers. It's hard for them to come through to work with us. We're here in a very dense, material, matter filled world. And so for them to come through and actually start working with us, it's let's make it easy for them. Some of the things that we let go of are specifically contraindicated on a physical level. And you guys really need to understand that, is that you cannot mess around with that, because this is where people get into trouble and really get hurt because of the physicality. So some of those things, well, we're giving up all meds. There are no MAOIs. We talked about that a little bit on our podcast last week. So no SSRIs. And so the medicines that you're taking, if you're taking any medicines at all, you have to be off of your meds. Some of them, those meds require up to 6 weeks to be off. So you have to really be in prep to be able to even take and imbibe this medicine. Very serious contraindications in some of those meds. So if this is something that you want to explore in your world and think about plant medicines, you need to be working with a shaman that is going to give you, first of all, a health form to fill out so that you are listing, very mindfully listing and very truthfully listing your meds and your supplements. And so, on a physical level, some of the things that we let go of is because it is seriously contraindicated. Other things we let go of because it's energetically contraindicated. So, let's talk about salt. Salt is one of the things that we let go of. Salt is one of those things that it's a retainer of energy, guys. It retains the energy. So, if you have a lot of salt and you get all puffy, that's you retaining the energy. Well, if you're going into a plant medicine ceremony and you're trying to let go of that backpack of trauma and drama so that you can step into your higher consciousness, well, let's let go of the salt that's trying to hold on to all of that energy that you're trying to let go of. So there is the salt, where we let go of that because energetically it's going to make ayahuasca's job, the grandmother's job, a whole lot easier, rather than breaking through the salt and trying to get your entities out, get the energy that no longer is serving your highest good out. So let's make it easy. Let's clear that out. So we're a good, 5 to 10 days without salt. Sugar, big inflammation, right? Huge inflammation. And one of the big things that we see when we go into dieta about the sugar is just how addicted we are to sugar. And we haven't even been aware, that sugar is in every freaking thing. What do you mean? We start looking at labels. We start becoming very conscious about this beautiful meat suit, this beautiful temple, and what we're putting in to this temple. And we start these epiphanies of like, oh my God, look at all this fat and oil and sugar that's loaded up in what I thought was my healthy almond milk. So we start, there's all these layers of epiphanies and awarenesses of like, oh, wow, we really are putting a bunch of stuff in our body that we thought was super healthy, but come find out it's not. So we know that inflammation in the body, a lot of that is due to the sugars. And so if you are inflamed and you are, having all this sugar in the body, it's very challenging for these plant medicines to work with you. And so they want to look at you, unencumbered you. They want to see what your spirit is. Who are you? So we start eliminating so that we get to the raw, the real you. And now it's you and grandma sitting on the mat having your powwow and going, okay, so now I see you. Now I can see who you really are. So we let go of a lot of different things based on contraindication on a physical level, that it's just a no-go. I mean, in some cases could cause death. So we let go of that. We're very careful about all of that. And some of the things we let go of because it's an energetic contraindication. And so we talk about, why do we give up sex? Why do we give up masturbation? This is a real big one, like, what? Why? I want to share the love. I want to share, And so, again, the plant medicine wants to work with you, unencumbered you. And this gets into a big conversation about sexual energies. And that when, as a male, you're giving your life force energy away. Right? That is your life force energy. Are you giving it away consciously? Well, as you're going into the plant medicine, She wants to see your life force energy. She wants to know what that's all about. She wants you to keep that. As a female, when we're having sexual intercourse, we are the receivers. So we're taking in another's energy. She wants to work with you, not your partner. Your partner wants to come sit on the mat next to next to you. That's beautiful. So yeah, want you to work with you, your energy. Wants you to see what it is that you're letting go of and where. Where are you giving your energy? Where are you taking in energy? What is all that about? So we start seeing that dieta is not necessarily about diet and restriction as much as it is, this is an opening. This is an opening to see the real you. And we want to come at it from that perspective, that we want to taste the foods. We want to become close to nature, close to, the foods that you eat, and understanding that this is what is feeding your temple. This is what's feeding your energies. So we start seeing now that dieta is not necessarily just about the food, but in a philosophy that it is about you communicating and making friends with the plant spirit. And when I think about dieta, I don't necessarily think about the philosophy of restriction and food. I think about it as the moment you say yes, that you're going to come into a ceremony, to the moment that you close your dieta, way after we've left ceremony. And all of the lessons and the blessings that happen in between. All of the things that you learn about yourself. This is your dieta. In the jungle, it's very rare that you would hear somebody say, oh, I've had ayahuasca 100 times, or I've drank ayahuasca, 20 times. But what will happen is that you'll hear people talk about, oh yeah, that was the dieta that I reclaimed my queendom. Oh yeah, that was the dieta that I stepped into my higher self. Oh, that dieta, that was the one where I received that sword, that was the light, and I just, right? So we're starting to understand now that dieta has a lot more involved than just what the food is that you can't have. Wah.
Right.
And so I really try to instill that in, each one of my ceremonies, or the ceremonies that I offer. And so coming to it with the understanding that there is a huge philosophy around this, and that we really, we're giving up a lot of things, but we're not coming from a deprivation space. In fact, we're coming from it of a place of, let's fill our cup. Let's fill our cup with the beauty. Let's fill our cup with the love that is available. Let's fill our cup with the incredible energy that is truth in who we are, in our most authentic self, without all of the encumbrances.
And I think that's such a beautiful thing that plant medicine does. And when you're working with those spirits, is by the time that you are leaving the ceremony space and you are ready to start your integration process back into this matrix of day-to-day life, is you have just spent weeks rebuilding yourself from your foundation up,
Oh,
and
oh.
so during the ceremony, the shaman is singing the ikaros, your energy lines are being rewoven, like those illnesses are being are being transmuted. And
I
so by
love
the
it.
time that you are getting into this integration process, you are not the same person. You are not the same being that you were before you went into this. And so the dieta is also beautiful for me in the sense that when I integration process, I have a clean slate, a clean foundation on which to start bringing back in those things outside of a dieta space to really say, is this going to serve my highest good?
Right.
Is
Is this really what I want to do? Just because I've done it for the last, 40 years or however long, is this really serving my highest good again? You would really bring that mindfulness back in. And yeah, like caffeine sneaks back in and, but we're mindful about it, and we go, oh, okay, is this really, yes, this is what I want to do. And so, we're mindful about it. And I think that that's a really good point in this whole space of thinking about the integration process and how important having a clean slate and a new foundation is. And I think that um, having going through the process of and I will be really straightforward here in that when I take people through the dieta process, as I said earlier, this is a Shipibo style in which I do things, but also is that because I do master plant dietas, I've brought the master teacher dieta to the ayahuasca. So anybody that comes through is actually doing a master teacher dieta, which is a little stricter, a little longer, a little longer. Um, I feel it sets us up for success. I have had really, I think only one person um, who left ceremony space and went right out and got a pizza, and her life was a shit show for a really long time after that. Why? Because not she got the pizza, but because she was so irreverent about it. You know, um, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I want. And she definitely saw some whiplash of from that. And what I say about that is just like any contract, you're making a contract with these plant spirits. When you open your dieta, you're sitting down in a meditation and saying, hello, my love. This is what I'm willing to do. I'm going to give this up, this up, this up. I'm going to do all of these things so that, and you state what your intentions are. I would love for you to help me work out my unconscious shadows. I would love for me to be able to be in my highest state of consciousness and pure bliss love. I would love to let go of my old patterns that keep me blocked. Whatever those intentions are, in being very specific, you're sitting down and you're sharing that this is what you're wanting. And so you are entering into a contract, so to speak. It's not like a written contract, the laws of the land, so to speak. It's bigger. You're entering into an energetic contract with a master plant teacher. So if you're not going to hold up your end of the bargain, you can expect some repercussions.
Absolutely. And I think that also echoes the history of dieta, even from like a traditional sense with the indigenous tribes when they were, when the head shaman was kind of being open to training somebody who would eventually take over and be that place for the tribe. It's like a very serious, it's a very serious like situation, because throughout history, the shamans have been the healers of, the tribes. They have been the ones who have guided the tribes through conflict, and so because some of those like dietas can last up to like 6 years, right, for like shamanic training.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely. there are, I mean, I feel like I feel like I'm always in dieta, and always, once you start this path, it's little different as a facilitator, right? As an ayahuasquero, as a curandero, as a maestro, however way you want to say that. But yeah, and I think that what you're saying is very interesting in that, in any of the traditions, is that the shaman, in there are still some traditions where the person that is coming for healing does not drink the medicine.
Mm.
It is the shaman that goes in and drinks the medicine and journeys for the person who needs help, and goes through the ethers and pulling out, oh, okay, so now we need this remedy, this remedy, this remedy. The medicine said that we need to do this, this, and this, and this, and you need to leave, this area, and you need to go stay here, and whatever. It's like you're going out into the ethers and you're asking these plant spirits for the remedies so that you can come back and give the remedies. So one of the things that I have found that I feel, why, the question is, why does ayahuasca work? Why is there such a huge piece in why ayahuasca really makes significant changes in PTSD, in sickness, in the way that we view the world? Why does it work? And we hear over and over and over again, oh my gosh, I just spent a weekend in ayahuasca that was 15 years in, talk therapy. Why is that? And this is just my philosophy. There really is nothing other than anecdotal notes that I can go on to really share, this. But my feeling is that there is such an incredible intelligence in these plant spirits. And this intelligence comes into us and gives us a felt sense of the experience. The felt sense of the experience of being healed, of being able to see our trauma from a different perspective, and being able to actually feel as if we are purging that trauma out. We are cleansing it out. We always talk about the purge, and we'll do a segment on the purge, because I think, Tyler, the purge is at least a segment long to really talk about. But I feel that if you go onto any podcast, YouTube, documentary, anything that's talking about ayahuasca, you will hear the most fantastical things, the most outlandish things, the most incredible, oh my God, and then there was this being and it came in and it showed me this and blah, blah, blah. And then, I had, and then the aliens, and, right? Fantastical experiences. And it's not necessarily about those experiences. It's the felt sense of the experience of those experiences. That is the healing capacity. It is that you are feeling it. So yeah, we all have these fantastical, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's almost cringeworthy when you hear some of these stories, like, oh my God, are they really saying this? Like, how is anybody ever gonna, see the beauty of this plant medicine when all these people are talking about the aliens and the this and the that and the, and it's not to say that it's not true, because we all have them. That's the other thing that I think is so amazing, is how we have collective visions, and that, like I had one of my big experiences at the Temple of the Way of the Light. I was with them, and I was able to go up the middle pillar in the Kabbalistic tree of life and have a ceremony for each sephora and each pathway, which was pretty phenomenal, to be able to do that. Big in depth. I mean, like you just can't even believe some of the things that I saw, unicorns and pink dolphins, and and they were all bringing magnificent healings and showing me amazing, amazing things. And then the last day that I was in camp, this beautiful being came in with a painting, and he had painted my journeys. Everything that I had seen within my journeys was in this painting. And I was like, how? What? How did you know? Were you there? On some level, right? We all see. So I think that, this is a really big, topic, and a big thing to dive into. But as far as the dieta goes, those master teacher dietas are phenomenal. What is some of the research that I know that you had, tell me the name of the book that you are reading now.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
curious as to what the author of this book is saying about dieta and all of that.
yeah. Really quick before I jump into that one, I just wanted to give a thought on what you were saying about feeling the healing and feeling the experience. And if we're looking at, you know, the plant medicine and like healing the sympathetic nervous system and kind of healing the trauma that is like stuck in the physical DNA, that trauma is like so deeply ingrained in us, those those paradigms, those thought patterns and everything. And that's what a beautiful component of plant medicine and what it does is it allows you for a temporary amount of time to be lifted from those constraints. And so when you're talking about the feeling the experience of the healing and feeling the medicine and the release go through, it's literally rewiring your brain. It's giving you new tools and ways of thinking, which we're starting to understand in a modern medical sense that stress affects illness, the trauma affects illness and your physical well-being. And so if you are feeling the love, if you're feeling the joy, if you're feeling the healing experience that comes from that medicine, it's offering a new program, a new way of being, of existing in this world. And so
Oh,
yeah.
yes, 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 and yes, and yes, and yes. And so, yeah, what Tyler is talking about on this epigenetic level is for real, for real. Like, um, it's so beautiful to be able to see not only are we clearing out the backpack that we've accumulated in our lifetime, but that on an epigenetic level, we are clearing out the lineage backpack as well, So if we've come in with, the trait of guilt,
Mm.
we've inherited guilt from the ancestors. We've inherited pain from the ancestors. We've inherited certain ways of oppression from the ancestors. We can clear all of that out. We can clear it for the ancestors. I often say I get up every morning and I jump into my work on this shaman's path. I don't do it for me or anybody else but the ancestors. I'm carrying the ancestors on my shoulders, carrying them forward, carrying their gifts forward. Not just my own ancestors, but the ancestors of this land.
Oh.
Yeah. So we can clear on an epigenetic level the imprints that have been, and I think that this is there's so much research that's coming out now that, point arrows towards the depth and width of how this healing happens. And a lot of that is on the epigenetics and clearing a lot through the DNA. And we look at that there's been an imprint on the genetics, and what your mother felt while she had you in the womb is one story. But think about your mother's eggs were formed while she was in the womb of her mother. So we have whatever your grandmother was going through emotionally, physically, energetically, that imprint went to your mom and on those eggs. So this is this is the story of evolution, and this is how we change the collective, right? By doing this internal work little at a time. And we have to have patience, things are changing. I see it. Maybe it's the limited lens in which I get to work because I'm working in this shamanic path, but I feel very hopeful in the collective shifting and changing. I see people waking up every day and going, "Oh, what? This is how I get to live?" Like, yay. So
It's
yeah.
it's beautiful. And we were talking about this like reawakening, and that kind of is a good little thing for me to kind of jump into answering your question
Oh,
about the book
good.
that I got. It's called Grandmother Ayahuasca, Plant Medicine and the Psychedelic Brain by Christian Funder. I just got this book a couple days ago over the 4th of July weekend, and it's Christian Funder is an English and mathematics teacher. He attended several ayahuasca retreats in the Peruvian jungle, and he's now focused on reuniting humanity with the plant teachers. He is a board member of the Psychedelic Society of Denmark, and he lives in Copenhagen, if you so care to know.
So when I come to Copenhagen, I'm coming to see you, buddy.
So I had no kind of pre-knowledge of the book or its contents. I always love making my way to the occult section at Barnes and Noble, just because it's always a stop that I have to make. And my partner wanted to go, and I was like, okay, hell yeah. And the
Let's
book jumped,
go.
the book jumped out at me. Um, and so I just decided to pick it up and see what information they had. And I was flipping through it and saw that they had a section on Dieta when I knew that this segment was coming up here on the podcast. And so I was excited to kind of go through and
Yeah, what's he have to
delve into
say? Yeah.
the so the section that he was writing about with the dieta is in relation to the ayahuasqueros, or someone who brews and facilitates the ayahuasca and kind of echoes the plant spirits in their healing through the igros that are sung during the ceremony.
So just a little, like logistical thing.
Yes, please.
Um the ayahuasquero typically in the Shipibo tradition is someone who makes the ayahuasca. Not necessarily facilitates or sings the songs, but is just a master plant maker, and is able to brew. So in other traditions, the ayahuasquero is the person that not only brews, but is bringing the medicine, singing the medicine and serving the medicine and being there. So sometimes the ayahuasquero, when I think of ayahuasquero, I'm thinking about the person that actually makes the brews and is the master of making the brew. So usually the maestro or maestra, depending male or female, is the one who's singing, or the curandero is just the overall, the shaman on deck, curandero. So
See,
just
this
a
is why I love having this conversation here with you on it, because it's just you can like flesh it out a little bit, because
Yeah,
there's
let's just dive in a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
um but really what the author was kind of talking about in relation to dieta was how serious of an maybe not ordeal is not necessarily the right word, but how serious of a matter it is for someone who is going to undergo a shamanic training. Um, and so I love what you were saying, Starr, about how, you know, the dieta that you have participants go through is, in a lot of senses, the same dieta that somebody is going to go through in their own shamanic training in order to be in more of a facilitator type role to offer.
Absolutely.
And
So, as a facilitator, one would hopefully, one would be doing these master teacher dietas. And there's these master teachers that will, like Bobinsana, open up the heart. Morusa is all about, giving you more remedies. Chuachaki, there's so many different master teacher plants that you do in conjunction with ayahuasca. So you're taking these master dietas, they're not psychedelic, these master plants, so that you can learn to open up your heart and have really clear boundaries, or that you are wanting to commune more with plant spirits and learn how to. This is chuachaki. So you would drink the tea of the roots of these plants, either the roots or the leaves, depending upon which plant it is, and then you would go into an ayahuasca ceremony in order to receive the messages from these plants.
yes, and
So
that's
this is
why,
a master dieta, and
yes.
that you are not only drinking ayahuasca, but you're also really wanting to be so clean and clear that you can hear the messages from these master teachers as well.
Yeah, and that's actually what he was talking about in kind of this segment on dieta, was that it is usually during the dieta that the shaman will learn the ikros to be able to echo back for future ceremonies. And so I wanted to actually ask you, for like for Bobinsana or for all of these other master plant teachers, do they all have their specific ikros for like those plants themselves? And was it the like I'm sure that the plants have come through and like uh given the ikros like during the ceremony, and then those ikros are then like passed on in generations, right? Or I
Okay,
wanted to
so
like
yes.
understand
So as you can imagine, when we are in dieta and let's say in the jungle, you're spending your days communing with the plant. So Bobinsana, Noyarao, you're there with the tree or the bush. You're there with them, communing, talking with them during the day. For me, a lot of my processes is drawing, and so I'm sketching the trees. I'm really being there, and it's during those times that those ikaros will come in, where the song will come in while you're communing during the day. It's not necessarily only in when you're drinking the ayahuasca. Yes, with the ayahuasca too. And there are specific songs that they will come through to sing for your healing, or that they will gift you. So my maestro Enrique has gifted me with, gosh, probably about 20 ikoros. And then because I've done my own dietas, my own master dietas, I've received ikoros from Bobinsana, from Noyarao. And then there's another layer to that, and that is that, so the ikoros that Enrique has given me, there are ones that are, let's say, I'm singing one that is about protection, and I feel like somebody is really going into a gnarly space or really doing battle with their demons, and it's getting big, and so a protection ikoro comes out. What plant teacher wants to sing that is, it could be that ikoro, for instance, a protection ikoro could be a Bobinsana wants to sing it. Different voice, different feeling to it, as opposed to Noyarao, or one of these other plant spirits, So there are different energies in which these plant spirits carry. Bobansana is a very gentle, sweet, she'll kick your ass, but gentle and sweetly. She'll do it with a smile. She'll bung you over the head with her little fairy wand and say, "Wake up! What are you doing?" You know. Whereas, if Noya Rao is going to come through and sing that same protection, Ikaro, it could be like boom, it's ready to blast whatever the energy is out of the way. So, sometimes, if and I'm going to go back to the protection Ikaro, sometimes that protection Ikaro needs to come in a soft and gentle way. And so it's that Bobansana energy that's coming with it. And other times it needs to kick ass, and it's going to have Chuachaki coming in or Noya Rao coming in, and boom.
Mm.
So each one of those plant medicines have a specific voice and a specific energy and frequency. Everything is frequency. So each one of them have a frequency, So yeah. Did that answer your question?
That did, and then some. So thank you.
Okay, cool,
Um,
cool. Cool. Yeah, sometimes I want to be mindful not to get in too big over top of you guys and be saying things like, what the hell is she talking about? I want to make it in layman's terms and make it so that you guys maybe can learn a little bit.
and I am picking up what you are putting down. A,
Hey.
a lot of kind of what this segment was talking about in the book with the dieta, we've covered in some different facets kind of throughout this conversation. But one thing that I thought was interesting was, so the intent of the dieta from a shamanic training perspective is to learn the ways of ayahuasca. And it said that the trainee's spirit is tested and broken. So the new shaman will be basically broken down to be built back up by the plant spirits, like hardened and wizened to be able to carry this medicine. And I wanted to ask about that from your perspective. In your training, did you feel like you were stripped down bare brass knuckles to be built back up again to be able to carry this medicine in your own life, is what I wanted to ask.
In every single shamanic tradition, there is initiation. There is a death rites and rebirth. And ayahuasca is all about that. They call her she is the queen of death. She is the queen of, some people actually feel like, oh my God, am I physically dying right here? No, you're metaphorically dying. And all the things that need to fall away for you to step into your next realm, whether it's as a facilitator, as it's bringing pure bliss love to your life, as it's embodying your highest self. It doesn't really matter what that next initiation is. There are parts of us that have to die away in order to be rebirthed. This is our natural state. And yes, 100%, this is the initiation path for the shaman as well. In these dietas, there are tradition. Shipibo does not do this, but there are tribes that do, where you are actually buried. You dig your own hole, and you go in to the hole at night, and you are buried alive. This is your initiation.
Are you doing that while drinking the ayahuasca, or is that not?
You can be in ayahuasca or not. Some of the traditions in the old Carol way, they were not drinking ayahuasca. In the jungle, they are drinking ayahuasca. But in every shamanic tradition, there is a sense of the death rites and initiation into being rebirth, into your facilitator role, your new life, your new way of being. I actually feel like on a collective level, we are in initiation as right now. And the death and dying process is hard. It's always hard. We are reconstructing a new way of being, and we are in the chaos or the destruction part. And so we can look at, we are in a big initiation right now in our collective. For me, personal, Ty, yeah, fuck yes, all that. So for real, it's like, the death of the ego is hard, and there's layers to that shit, and it's an ongoing thing, once you're committed to this path, like it's one big long dieta, and we're constantly riding those shadows. We're constantly making sure that, this, and this too. What is this? Okay, and this too, and I think that it is, when I went into my facilitator training with Enrique, my first round with him was 2 months, and I did a 4-week dieta with Noyarao, who is a bioluminescent tree. So my first 4 weeks with this incredible being of light, Noyarao, who is stern mama. Nothing is getting by stern mama. She loves you unconditionally, but don't even play. Just don't even try it, because she's going to sit you down and she's going to show you your shit, and she's not going to be extremely, coddling about it. It's like, okay, do you see this now? And so, yeah, it is like this constant space of looking at our, what the Kiro call Aini, right relationship, and bringing ourselves in right relationship more and more and more, fine-tuning. And I feel like with this path, as an initiate on this path, rather you are a going in as a facilitator, and this is, oh my gosh, this is what I'm called to do for the rest of my life, or you're coming in the doorway of, I got some shit in my backpack I got to take care of, and I heard ayahuasca can help me, like either way, whatever door you're coming through, is that you have to know that you're gonna go through an initiation. You're gonna go through an initiation to die away all of those parts of you that are not serving you, so that you can rebirth into your highest, most beautiful self. And some of that is hard to see. Some of that is hard to go through. And so we trust the process, and we continue to surrender over and over and over, sometimes many times a day. Surrender. Oh, what? Surrender again? I just surrendered, damn it. Okay, I'll surrender again. Like, seriously.
And that kind of leads me to the last kind of thought that I wanted to kind of loop back around before we had started recording, was this idea of us as a collective on this precipice of awakening and remembering who we are and reclaiming our sovereignty and the divine spirit within us, is what a dieta also does. I feel like, especially in today's age now more than ever, is stripping away the industrialization of this world, and especially being in the jungle, surrounded by the master plant teachers themselves, like right there in the physicality of it. What this dieta, or what a dieta will do, is it really tunes you into the vibrations of the forest and of the nature around you. And I really feel like that is what we were talking about, in the sense of what has stripped us as humanity away from the earth and from our, divine spirit within us, is, the industrialization and the capitalism and the moneyness of it all. It kind of, we lose our sight of this beautiful Pachamama around us. And so I really feel like that is a very important aspect of the dieta, is to tune back in with our own circadian rhythms and feel the heartbeat of the earth around us. And so,
Well, that's just it, is like, you know, I've always said that doing the dietas in the jungle is so much easier, you know? You wouldn't think so because, you're in the jungle, and you're dealing with other kinds of elements, The cockroaches are for real, I mean, like, the snakes and the wildlife is for real, but here it's a whole other different level, because you still have the distractions of your phone, your TV, your screens, your family. Your family can't call you in the jungle. So yeah, I mean, like, I've always found that the dietas here, when you're not in the jungle, can be a little more challenging. And part of when we go through dieta, part of that is, detoxifying on all levels, not just the physical level, but detoxifying from your screens, detoxifying from the social calendar that keeps you in the busy, 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 detoxifying you from, what is happening around us, so that we can start coming back to our earth-centered practices. We can start coming back to the sense of gratitude for this planet that is offering us these ways to evolve and grow. And she gets to evolve and grow through us by us imbibing these medicines. And so, yes, we are raising the collective consciousness on the planet, but for the planet as well. So I feel like you're absolutely right. It brings us back to our natural circadian rhythms. It brings us back to our authenticity. And yes, we have had a big shift in our consciousness with that industrial revolution. I happen to feel that's where we, moving away from earth-centered practices and agriculture and this and that we became disconnected and we lost our way, so to speak, in more of the industrial way of living. And I track it back to it being a crack during that time frame. But we have to also look at our religious organizations and what they were doing at the time and what they still perpetuate, that we have to go through an outside source in order to get to an enlightenment, right? And so ayahuasca, even though it may be an outside source, it's still part of this planet. It's still part of who we are in our intrinsic nature and natural surrounding. And it's accessing the DMT molecule that we have within us. It's accessing knowings that we already have within us. We're not looking exteriorly for the answers. We're going inward. So there is no us versus them. There is no waiting for somebody to come along and give us the answers and say, okay, now you're saved. Pretty wild.
Mic drop.
Yeah, mic drop. It's you. We are the ones we've been looking for, guys.
Excuse me.
The DMT, the plant medicines, open us up to see how magnificent we are. They open up the realms so that we can see, We are really multi-dimensional beings living in a meat suit on this planet. It's fucking amazing.
It is amazing. And and this could be a topic for a later video, but I do think that it deserves some attention, is um, the dark side of ayahuasca and the idea of how plant medicines can
100%.
the idea of plant medicine, any plant medicine in general, can open you up to either heaven or hell, you know. And so we see and we go into the depths of our
OMG. Yes, yes, yes. The dark side of ayahuasca, the dark side of life, the dark side of you, the dark side of me, the dark side of the collective. Like it's all encompassing.
mm.
And we have to look at that. I love that, Ty. Would you guys like to see and, dive into that with us? And I'd love to hear your comments. Please give us comments about, what it is that you want to, the dark side of ayahuasca. Sounds such like a great podcast.
Yes. Well, I feel like it's so necessary because even in my own like curiosity, doing searches on the internet, I mean, you are faced with people that have had negative experiences with plant medicine and who are, cautioning people like, stay away, stay away. This is what's going to happen. But I feel like it's all a necessary part of the evolutionary process and reclaiming those shadows, within ourselves and within the collective. So,
Well, this is the thing, guys, and I want to just leave you with this because I don't want to leave you in a scary spot of the dark side of ayahuasca, but I'm just going to say that you have to do your research on your shaman. I think that we have been trained to put spiritual leaders, so to speak, up on pedestals. We're humans. We're walking this path. We make mistakes. And some people make more mistakes than others. Some people like to go, oh, yeah, I can serve that. I can order that off the internet and I can do that and have zero training. They're dangerous. They're dangerous because we are entering into realms, varying realms, shadow realms, entity realms, realms with lots of different beings. And we open up these worlds. And if your shaman on deck does not have the experience to know how to work these varying worlds, or is coming from a sense of ego, I'll save you. Tyler, you made a comment earlier about shamans healing, and that they've been the healers. And I'm going to say, no, shamans aren't healers. You are the healer. We can bridge the worlds. We can open up the worlds and we can help you clear so that you can access all of the info that you need. And that's a big difference. If you start hearing a shaman saying, I can heal you, or I can do this, or I can do that, run away. We don't do that. We can open up the worlds and we can serve you the medicine so that you can access that and we can sing your soul home. But you are the one that is doing the healing work. Please don't ever forget that. Don't disempower yourself. Do not disempower yourself.
thank you so much.
Yeah. So, yeah, there is a really big dark side. And the unfortunate part is that, many of the circles that I hold are women's circles because so many women have been taken advantage of in sacred space. And I'm so sorry to hear it. And I'm so sorry that this has happened. And there is a small part of me that says we trust that process too. But there's a larger part of me that says we have to take responsibility in educating and you guys taking your power back. And it is okay to ask the questions. Where did you train? What is in your medicine? How long have you been doing this? You know, these are perfectly perfect questions to ask. So there is a little bit of a dark side to ayahuasca, and that all has to do with the ego,
Mm.
you know? So, oh, my goodness. But there's a lot of really beautiful people out here that are serving the medicine and that are doing their work. And, you know, I'll just say that on this too, is that when I am serving the medicine in a gathering, I'm not there to do my personal work. I am there to hold space for you and to help you find your way to your authentic self. When I am going to do my personal work, I am going in. I am not facilitating. Two different things.
Beautiful.
Hey, so what's happening in your world this week? You got things going on this week and this weekend and yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, I started my new job. So
Yay.
slowly but surely, the wheels on the bus are going round and round. Um, yeah, so I think right now I'm in kind of a doing process. Well, it's actually so crazy. I'll make this quick, but the LPN program, the licensed practical nursing program at the TATC out here, or at the college out here is having a free course on their LPN program because of the shortage of nursing and the help that healthcare is needing. So there's some prerequisites and things that I have to look into on getting on that, but I am very grateful to have built myself up to a position to where I can do work that is financially stabilizing for me while I look into these other, continuing education type things and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful to be where I'm at right now. And sometimes I feel like I wish I was further, and I have to remember to, it's not a destination. It's
It's
not
a
like
process,
it's a
sure.
process. And so learning to love the process and every aspect of that journey. So I am going to dive into this book, this Grandmother Ayahuasca, Plant Medicine and the Psychedelic Brain. And I think I'm going to find some good tidbits in there that I would love to share with you and the podcast for future episodes as well. So there's a lot of cool.
Beautiful. I'm reading a book. It's shamanism and plant medicine as well. I'll bring it next week. It's a great book. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's kind of like one of the ones that I will go to and open up random page and go, okay, what's my message today?
I
But
love
I'm
it.
so happy for you that you've got a class that you are able to take and that it's being offered for free. And which brings me to the shameless portion of our, if you guys want to donate to our Sacred Service podcast, we are open to receive. If you have a message that you would like us to put out for you or an event that you would like to promote on the Sacred Service podcast, we would love to support you in that. Yeah, we are just getting started. And so we are open to your suggestions, your thoughts. Please place some information in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, share with your friends. Do the damn thing. We are in it to win it, all of us together. We're here to walk each other home and to share the love and to share a little bit of information. And so we're so grateful, grateful, grateful for you guys for tuning in listening and sharing your love. I appreciate you all so very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody for tuning in, for having an open mind, having an open heart, and for doing the damn thing. You guys are all doing your own work out there, and it's beautiful. And so let's
Oh.
dance a little together, let's sing a little together,
Woo,
and
woo, woo.
let's go home.
And let's go home. So, we've got a couple of people lined up to come in and talk about their ayahuasca experiences. So, if you'd like to be one of those people, reach out and let us know because we will. I think it's really fascinating to hear from other people and what their experiences have been, and gives a little broader stroke of the brush, so to speak. So, all right. Until next week, we'll see you. Have a beautiful week. Stay in love. Thank you, Tyler. I love you.
Love you, love you.